All right, so I got the question how to get consistency in deal flow. And I'm going to go ahead and share kind of what are the three pillars that I believe as a real estate wholesale investor you need to have to be able to get consistency. Now, I've been through different phases where we're getting deals consistently in or we're simply not. And in this shifty market where there's a lot more inventory, there's just less buyers out there and sellers are kind of stuck on old high prices. There's just less transactions going on. Like that's just the bottom line. There's less transactions going on. And so if in fact you're not adapting, it may be difficult to make it through. So hopefully with this video, you get a couple of nuggets, a couple of ideas to see and kind of self-audit your business and how you're set up. I'm going to be focusing on these three pillars right here. And the first one is going to be systems. So if right now you don't have systems, and in the previous video, and I'll link it below in the description, I showed you how to set up a simple text blast with a follow-up a phone call system in high level. And I did that just yesterday. And today I've had a lot of conversations, including one verbal accepted offer. So if you don't have a system that can actually text blast leads at a certain time frame, you're missing out, right? So without systems, you're not leveraging any technology. And it kind of surprises me how many people operate out there without a CRM, without any sort of automations. I mean, if you think about it, automations can replace a whole staff of virtual assistants. And with AI, it's even more powerful. So what are some of the things that, really need to be in place in your system? I would say that the first one is new seller lead, speed to lead. So like whenever a new seller lead comes in, regardless of the time, whether you're in dinner or not, or out and about, your new seller lead needs to be contacted really within seconds at this stage. Because if not, your competition is. And if you're buying pay per lead, if you're buying lead packages online, they're filling out not only multiple forms, but a lot of those leads are getting resold multiple times. So a lot of it is just a speed to lead game, right? That doesn't mean that every lead is going to be good, but you need to be able to get in touch with them as soon as possible and stop the form fill out. So if you have a new seller lead that comes in and you don't have AI chatbots, if you don't have AI voice, if you don't have none of these things, text message automations, you're missing out. Your system is lacking and you need to fix it as soon as possible. The next piece is once they respond, you have to have an engage sequence. So what does that mean? It's really just having an AI chatbot, following up, right? Getting them to book a call, because really the sequence is actually pretty simple. So when a new lead comes in, right? Let's say that this is a lead. Horrible writing on my pad. So let's just draw it. It's a lead right here. So this new lead, this person, sticky figure person, right? Really the main goal is just to get them to book on your calendar. Like, let's just pretend that this looks like a calendar right here. So, because if they book on the calendar, they have what? They have intent, right? They have intent. And so that's what we're looking for. We're looking for highly motivated sellers that have high intent, and ideally they're qualified, right? This may be a little bit trickier. The more you try to pre-qualify, the less opportunities you're going to have. We like to ask, how long have you owned the home? What's the condition of the home? Is it listed? Is it not listed? Typically when it was just listed a minute ago, they're not that motivated, but if it's been listed for a while, they may be more motivated. So you need to not only get the lead, but get the intent and get them on the calendar. And so really our system is built, or what I recommend you look into, is having a 24/7 booking system. Because if you have a 24/7 booking system, you can always not only wake up to motivated seller appointments, but also know who's really interested in a cash out sale. So with those systems, it's getting a new lead, engaging them as soon as possible. Hopefully that dissuades them from filling out more forms and getting them booked into your appointment. Now, at a moment's notice, you should be able to segregate, right? Like separate, let's just call it. You need to be able to separate and blast, right? So sending a text message, sending a voicemail drop, having a follow-up, these are things that you should be able to do. Like, let's say sellers that you haven't touched base with in 45 days, in a whole day. And obviously auto nurture sequence. So if they no-showed, with many of them no-show, like my advice is just to go ahead and call. If they booked a call, unless you book that manually, for a fact that that's the only time that works for them, you want to go ahead and make sure that you call them ahead of the appointment, because typically they don't pick up, and you can pretend like you call them by accident, or you're just calling to introduce yourself and confirm, but you want to call as soon as possible. So very important, having systems that you can leverage to actually bring back leads from that. Do not underestimate this. I see it time and time and time again. If you're not able right now to go into your CRM and divide and text blast, you're missing out. I'll leave a video right here that I did that live, and I gave you the snapshot for free so that you're able to implement that in your business. Okay. Now the second piece is leads, right? Like actual leads. So if you don't have leads coming in, actually, let me just copy this one's probably better. If you don't have leads coming in, then obviously you're a sitting duck. And we don't want to be a sitting duck. Okay. So think about what are some of the lead sources that you have and that are leveraged. Now, we've been using Real Estate Bees. We sell leads for $29 with a $97 subscription. You can check them out for sure. It's not, sorry about that. Okay, we're back. So we've been using Real Estate Bees right here. They have a $97 at the time of the recording, $97 per month subscription. You can buy leads. The cool thing is that they're phone verified, most of them, and you can get request refunds, and they're only $29. There's a couple of tiers for leads. I'm going to break them down here so that you kind of understand where these work at. Okay. So there's a couple of tiers here. So let me get this going. Okay. So with leads, you have non-exclusive. So non-exclusive PPLs, you have the Real Estate Bees of the world. You've got the speed to lead. I personally, I've had better experience with bees than speed to lead. Not throwing trash or hate or whatever to the other side, but I'm just saying that what you want to do is you want to treat these PPLs as if they're their own channel. Like you run Google and you run Facebook ads and you run maybe direct mail campaigns. Each PPL, you should treat it as its own campaign. And so in non-exclusive PPLs, there's a couple of things that you want to watch out for. Are they truly inbound, or are they cold calls? Because it's not the same. They don't have the same intent, right? And how well do they hold up with their refund policies? Okay. So like right here, these guys have a very nice dashboard. You can get everything integrated. You can see that there's been quite a bit of them that have been refunded. I haven't kept up to date on this here, but a lot of them. So you want to make sure that they provide, they hold true to their refund process. And then you have, then after that, you have exclusive PPL. So exclusive PPLs, those are your fast home offer. Those are what's the other one? Property leads. Now, those are your PPL deals. Those leads are supposed to be exclusive to you. Now, what I will tell you is that it doesn't quite make sense for you to overpay and overbid on those leads, because honestly, most of these sellers are filling out a lot of these forms. And so if you going back to systems, like if you don't really have systems set in place, Like if you just do not have systems set in place to be able to respond to these exclusive PPL leads ASAP, you're going to be losing. You're going to be setting up yourself for failure. So making sure you have a new sellers to lead process, especially for exclusive PPLs, is super important, right? Way more important than non-exclusive PPLs, because non-exclusive, everybody's going to be buying them. It's cheap. It's a good practice starting ground for sure, the non-exclusive PPLs, but we've done more deals with the exclusive ones, to be blunt with you, right? Again, I'll leave some resources below. And then obviously you have list building. So list building, the good thing about list building is that you can target for equity. You can target the type of property that you're after. We were introduced to Envelop, which like right here, you can filter by indicators, let's say like intrafamily transfers. If you're after like probates, you want to make sure that's MLS off market, pre-foreclosure, you can do that. You can filter down on the type of property. And then the cool thing is you can do AI driving for dollars. So what that will do is it'll use AI to do a Google Street View search like super quick, and it'll give you a list of properties that seem to be physically in this array. So that's kind of new, that's innovative. And at that point, you got a cold call or email or mail. They do have mailing services from here. So the cool thing about that process, different than non-exclusive or exclusive PPLs, is that that you can have equity, you can target equity. Versus a lot of these PPL leads, honestly, a lot of them just won't have a lot of equity. So you need to make sure that you have different exit strategies. So that drives us to the third point. Okay. The third point is it's on sales, right? So there's three pillars. There's setting up your systems. There's having your leads coming in. So you got to get your systems dialed in. After your systems are dialed in, you start working the leads. And when I say systems, I mean, if you're like in a really tight budget, then maybe just a spreadsheet on your phone is what you can do. But, if not, you need to get going with automation. We offer a free Go High Level sub account, just pay for usage on our community. And then the leads feed into that. And then obviously you need to understand the sales process. So you need to understand how to do novations or attorney in fact sales. Kind of get an idea of what people are paying in the market for cash sales. So novations, obviously traditional wholesale, and a popular topic that's coming up is curative sales, curative title sales. You're probably going to have to JV or have funds for attorneys on this one. And that's something that I'm actually actively learning, right? I'm actively learning into that. I'm by no means an expert. I've done, probate deals with affidavit of heirship and stuff like that. Essentially doing curative title sales and buying the deed is something that is gaining a lot of traction nowadays. So if you can understand different types of sales, novations, wholesale, curative title, buying the deed, right? And you can buy leads, feed leads. Obviously, I didn't mention it here, but setting up your own ads, your own Google pay-per-click or your own Google meta ads, that's another channel. Like what I will say is that typically I recommend folks to start off with PPL because they do have refund guarantees, and you can always retarget those seller leads. Like if they land on your CRM, again, with your systems, you can retarget them via Facebook ads rather easily. And so you don't get overwhelmed with the complexity of running your campaigns. You can focus on actually getting deals done. So how to get consistency in deal flow? Figure out which one of these is lacking. It may be your systems. It may be that you just don't have enough leads, right? So if you're not waking up to motivated sellers on a daily basis in your calendar, I'm pretty sure if you have leads, I'm pretty sure that you have a systems problem, okay? You should have sellers raising their hand, giving you a call, booking an appointment in your calendar versus you having to chase them. Okay. If you have systems set up, then do you have leads? Right? Do you actually have leads? If you don't have leads, okay, or actually, if you have leads and you have systems, then do you have proper sales process? Do you have different strategies, right? Do you know how to pitch novations or attorney of fact sales? Do you know how to do wholesale, or do you understand, or at least getting to know and understand the buying the deed process for curative title? Okay. These are things that are needed. Okay. And so my homework to you, or my ask for you and your business, is to ask yourself, am I missing a current up-to-date strategy on sales? Am I missing leads, or am I missing systems? That is it, right? That is what's important here for you to get consistency and deal flow. After that, it's just case by case basis, just getting 1% better every single day, seeing how you can optimize your business every single day. So check out the resources below. Hopefully this video is useful. Give it a like, subscribe, definitely helps the channel. And I wouldn't hate it to get any questions that you have for me for future video content ideas. God bless.